slap but can also stroke.
Going in the wind as an empty of the truth that it's naked. It's verbatim and it's shaken.
Alrighty, Nathan Burnett, episode 55 of my man Jxremmy. We've been wanting to record this for a while, but we've all been busy, as well as we wanted to make sure that we got through all of the red tape about what we were allowed to talk about, because there's some exciting developments in Jeremy's life, so we're gonna talk about that. So,
what's up, guys? I'm back. Most of it is my fault. I've been slacking. I've been slacking. So a lot of school, a lot of work, a lot of just life in general. It's very busy.
Yeah.
So to say.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot to even mention, but if the camera quality seems better, I know the camera angle has changed. I can't remember if it was CJ or this one, but this is the first episode where we finally have the PC built. I've been hyping it up for like 2 years.
About time.
So yeah, we're running off of PC now, so hopefully the stream quality is better and all that stuff, and the editing is easier. I can finally use Photoshop again to make thumbnails. I don't have to go to the public library. So yeah, let's go. But like I said, with sort of mysteriously talking about red tape and stuff like that, Jxremmy, you want to talk about what your new job is? Let the people know.
All right. So a lot of you guys don't know this, but one of the reasons I stopped making YouTube videos, one of the main reasons, was because I was so involved in my career and trying to progress, which is being a sports camera operator. So I've been working nonstop, doing a lot of hours, and it's very tiring to do a camera shoot and all that, and then come home and then record a video. So I was like, I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just stay full time, do what I do, and just run cameras. So basically, one of my new jobs is I'm not cam opping yet for the Magic, but I am in training. So basically, I got hired by the Orlando Magic, my favorite team of all time, one of the greatest, one of my greatest favorite all-time teams. I got hired by them, and now I work for the Magic on game days, and then, I help run the camera show. We do all that. We don't do the broadcast. We do the screen show, which is the huge Jumbotron, all the replays, all the highlights, everything that goes on the Jumbotron, that's our job. So that's what I'm training to be, and that's one of the many jobs here in Orlando that I've been blessed to receive. So, but that's my favorite one so far.
Okay. Well, that answers one of my questions that I was going to ask you about. I was going to ask about I didn't know you were just doing the Jumbotron. I thought you were doing the actual broadcasts and stuff. So
not yet. Very soon though. I already have the connections and all the people I need to talk to do it. So
nice.
It is going to happen soon.
Cuz one of my questions is I don't know if you saw last night or the night before. The Bucks were beating the Celtics so bad that they just switched off the game. So what happens to the camera people when they do that? Do y'all just go home, or y'all keep recording, or what's the deal?
Nah, when that happens, it's weird because that's like a 1 in a million thing, right?
Yeah.
So to explain to you how the broadcast side works is, so if you watch your Spurs feed and then you watch your Magic feed, let's say Spurs and Magic are playing each other, and it's a game on TNT. So you have your Spurs TV crew with all your Spurs personalities and broadcasters.
Mm-hmm.
They come in, they build their own show, their own cameras, their own everything,
Mm-hmm.
right? They still use the local labor, so we'll build the Spurs show. So you're either on the home side, the away side, or the TNT side. So there's times where there's 3 production trucks at the arena at one time, plus your in-house people. So for your screen show, so you have 4 different camera crews operating at once, which it could be chaotic, especially at the baseline. There's so many cameras, so many people. But in a situation like that, where TNT just completely changes games, I've never seen that, because it's you brought your whole crew for TNT to Celtics versus Bucks. and it's pretty weird to see that happen because generally you don't see that happen.
Yeah,
because,
especially because they're two like top seeded teams as well.
exactly. And I've never seen that. I've never even thought that could happen because you remember the era when LeBron James would be on primetime TV and
Yeah.
dude would rest. James Harden would rest. KD
Mhm.
would rest. Like we'd have superstars resting on meaningful games,
Mhm.
and then they'd still show the game. I've never seen that happen.
Mhm.
So I guess because that was a TNT show, right? Yesterday.
Let me check.
I'm
I
pretty
think
sure it was.
they switched to. I think they switched to the Magic game. I know that.
No, they went to the Mavericks Knicks game, which ended up
Yeah,
being a good game.
that's what I meant to say. Not. Did I say Magic? I meant Mavericks.
Yeah, you're good, bro.
It's just because I'm staring at your hat and stuff.
Yeah, I got you. It's weird though because I really don't know. I guess,
Yeah, it was
never
on
seen that
TNT because people were tweeting about it.
and it left me dumbfounded. I was like, I didn't know we could do that because all the rights and all that to specific games
Yeah.
and all that. Like these companies, they pay for that game,
Yeah.
which is
In my
I've never
head,
seen that happen.
in my head, like I see both sides of it though. Like about like what the camera crew does, because it's like do I keep recording even though it's not being shown?
Yep.
Like
Yeah, you still keep going. It'll
Yeah.
all be used.
'Cause-
It'll all be stored in a file.
exactly, because like you have to have like archives of it and stuff like that, even
Mhm.
if it's not being broadcast. But on the other
Yeah.
side, I see people being like, "Well, if I'm working the broadcast and the broadcast isn't being shown, I'm just gonna go home." So, like, I see
Nah,
that
bro.
side of
I
it as
wish it
well.
worked like that. I wish it worked like that. There's I mean, bro, at the Magic versus Timberwolves, we're losing by 30, 40.
Mhm.
And in-house, like in-venue board, we still had to go around to the crowd, shoot the crowd in the fourth quarter, and like try to cheer them up as if
Mhm.
we had any chance in this game.
Oh yeah,
So
that. Do you ever have
The
to?
show goes on.
Do you ever have to do that? Is it like a moral, like, does it hit your morale whenever they're like, all right, get shots of fans walking out or something like that?
Nah, that's the one thing we always avoid. Don't get people that are leaving, get people that are staying. And it's like, well, I'm getting paid to be here, so I can't complain too much.
Uh-huh.
These people, they actually paid to be here, so I don't blame them.
Mm-hmm.
What can you do, man? Just
Yeah. So I don't know how the Orlando Magic Stadium is like laid out, but have you ever had like any fun like fan interactions with the camera? Because I know with the Spurs Stadium, they have like sometimes seats that are right in front of the camera, and like you can say like what's up to the cameraman and they'll like dab you up
Yeah.
and shit like that. Like I'm not even
Yeah.
kidding. Like me and my dad, like we've like obviously like before the game starts, not like while the game's going, but like
right,
you
right.
can say like what's up to them and like all that. So
yeah. I mean, bro, anytime people see a camera, the first thing they say, put me on camera, put me on camera. It's
yeah.
just like, all right, dude, we got it. Just give us a second. But yeah, people love the camera. Like they'll
Mhm.
see camera people and automatically they want to say what's up to us and be on camera and do all this different
Mhm.
stuff. And I feel bad sometimes because it's like, yo, like we're working right now. Like,
Yeah.
give us a second. Like
Yeah.
the game's going on and you're tapping my guy's show. Like, bro, leave him alone. Thankfully though, most of the cameras are court side.
Mhm.
So people who are courtside, they don't really care about you. They're just like in their own world, thinking about their alcohol, thinking about
Yeah.
their pizza.
It's courtside, so they're like they think they're
Right.
all big.
Yeah, they're all wearing their Louis Vuitton
Yeah.
head to toe.
Nah, but
So
whenever we went to Spurs games, like they would, so like the seats are kind of like split. You know, there's like a lower deck and then an upper deck, and
Right,
in
right.
between them, there's all like the announcer desk and like the cameras
Yep.
and stuff like that. So if you're on the highest seat of the lower deck, the cameras are right above you, right?
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
like you said, like people like while you're working would try and mess with you. Like we would never do that. We would always do it like before the game. But we didn't even care about being on camera. We just thought it was cool
Right.
that like we got to
Right.
like see the person doing their job. So we didn't even do any of that like, oh, get us on camera. We were just like, oh man, that's cool. You get to be a camera guy. What's up, man? And then
Yeah.
like we just talked to them about being a camera guy before the game
Yeah.
starts. Sort of like I'm
Hey.
doing with you now. So I mean,
That's how it is.
yeah.
And most of them will talk right back to you happily. Like they will happily talk about what they do, the games they've been to, the things they've done. Me, I don't talk about it too much. Like people be like, oh, what do you do for your job? I'm like, oh, just
Yeah.
camera operator. I keep it simple. But there's some people like you'll talk to them and they'll talk endlessly about it.
So another one of the questions I had for you, and I don't know if this applies because you said you mainly just do the jumbotron instead of broadcasting.
Only for the Magic.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if have you done any recording in other stadiums or just at home?
NBA stadiums, no. So all the stadiums that I do, anything that's in Orlando, we do. So we have Camping World Stadium. That's our football stadium. It's like one of the ugliest stadiums in the whole world. We got Camping World Stadium. We got Exploria Stadium, which is where Orlando City plays. I love that stadium. And then we got the Orange County Convention Center, which we do work there pretty often. We'll have like random events like a dog show. We have a dog show every year. So it all just depends on the venue. But Amway is the best venue. More than likely, I will be working in Tampa pretty soon at Amalie Arena. That's where the Raptors played when they were in Tampa for a season. I might work at Tropicana Field, the greatest baseball park in all of America.
I don't watch baseball, so I can't even have an opinion.
That's the one with the white roof.
That still doesn't help me. I don't watch it. I just smile because I love how if it's your stadium, it's automatically the best stadium. Like you're like
bro,
Orlando Magic, the best
worst.
team in the world because it's my team. Like
Damn right. Nah, Tropicana Field, for the people that watch baseball, they know it's one of the worst stadiums in the world. Like it is horrible. But and then I'll probably head down to Miami pretty soon as well. Do some events there, like Heat. Maybe I'll see the Heat Center. So I forgot American Airlines, something like that. But there's a lot, and thankfully in my line of work, I'm gonna travel a lot.
Hopefully there's not another bubble because then you'll be really overworked because that was over there.
I have friends that worked in the bubble, and just to give you a little glimpse, they went 3 months straight of living in the bubble.
Oh yeah, because I'm sure the cameraman like had to live there and everything too.
Yep.
Was it?
They can't leave.
Yeah, it was exhausting, huh?
They say it was exhausting. I thank God I wasn't there.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, I was gonna ask you if there was a favorite NBA venue besides the Magic that you liked recording at, but
It'll
never
always
mind.
be the Magic.
Yeah.
The Kia Center.
The Kia
Oh, we got a
Center.
new name. The Kia Center.
Yeah. So I feel like this is sort of an obvious question, but I still want like your take on it because they're not exactly related jobs, but I feel like some people may bring it up. How do you feel about comparing your job to sort of the change in sort of social media and stuff like that, where it's like nowadays like every player has like their agent that like just has a phone or a camera and sort of records them on their own, and then meanwhile you're hired by the team, you have like your own professional camera and stuff like that. I'm trying to think of like how to ask this question, but just like how would you compare it, you hired by the team recording with your own camera versus just people that are trying to like freelance record on their own with just like their phone and like run a social media account?
Well, here's the thing. The person recording on their phone or doing their own stuff, they'll never have the equipment that we have. Like I'm talking about, bro, we use lenses that are like $250,000. It's insane the amount of money that are in these cameras and in these sets. And then it's just like I have my Canon camera. I could literally go out to Magic games and record it myself. But like the quality and like the viewership, because we just think about cameras when we talk about it, but there's cameras, replay, graphics, and then we have a whole truckload of people doing, like we might have like 3-4 replay operators, we might have 2 graphics people, we might have directors, all this different stuff, that's one of the luxuries you don't have when you record with your own equipment. Is now you just became your camera operator, now you just became your graphics person and your highlight
Yeah.
It's so much to do by yourself, and you can do it. I have friends that do it, but it's just like your quality and your professionalism and all that different stuff. It can be great, but it'll never be as great as the broadcast camera quality, just because it's, bro, like the different specs, all this different stuff that goes into these cameras. It's insane. It's
Mhm.
incredible. The amount of just the capabilities that these cameras and these lenses have, it's incredible. Talk
Mhm.
about most of the time the lenses, the smallest lens is a 24 by lens. So that thing is about this big.
Mhm.
It's not that big. Now when you go to a 40 by lens, which is 40x zoom, it's about this big. And then when you get to the 80 zoom, that's the big box lens.
Mhm.
That thing is like this, bro. That thing costs a whole house. Not in Orlando, but maybe in like somewhere else.
Yeah.
Orlando's expensive, man. We got all these. Too many people living here now.
It's not just Orlando, man. It's America's housing crisis. But
Yeah.
um, that was one of the other things I was gonna ask you. Is like, as like cameras get better and stuff like that, do you have to like increase your equipment, or like is there a special contract with like the NBA where it's like we have to, because of TV regulations, we and TV broadcasting quality, like you guys have to have this level of camera with these specs and all that sort of stuff.
It depends. Typically, no. Typically, they don't care as long as it's the only thing they ask for is if your truck, because it's all the truck feeds. If your truck can shoot 1080p,
Mhm.
we don't care. We don't care how old the equipment is. We don't care what you use. As long as the quality comes in 1080p, that's all we care about. And for the NBA, they don't even, I don't think they shoot 1080p. I
Mhm.
know MLS, so soccer, they shoot 1080p, and you're required to have equipment that can be 1080p. But hey, most of the time, we're using cameras that are like 20 years old.
Yeah.
So
So you
it's
don't
it's
have
all
to
old.
like keep up with like the most recent thing. It's like you could have like a 1950s camera that you somehow rigged up to shoot 1080p, and they're like, yeah,
Correct.
that's fine.
Correct. The reason why they can't be so like so picky about it is because there's only so many trucks in the world.
Mhm.
And you got to remember, if we got 30 NBA teams, 15 teams are playing tonight,
Mhm.
right? 15 NBA teams are playing tonight, and each venue requires two trucks. And now you got to also remember, oh, and we have hockey
Mhm.
going on at the same time, where let's say there's 10 hockey teams playing at different arenas so they don't intertwine, and now they also need two trucks. And then once you get into baseball season and football's going on, right, it's just so many trucks. You
Mhm.
just can't be so picky about what you get just because maybe the truck you wanted is in Massachusetts today, and
Mhm.
in 3 days from now it has to go all the way to Dallas, Texas.
Mhm.
It's insane. So it's literally what can you get?
So, can you explain like the truck thing a bit more? Because I'm a bit confused by that, and maybe the
So
listeners are too. So, you guys don't have a specific truck, like you just get whatever truck you get? Because the
so
way you
here's
made
how.
it sound before is like each team has their own that like they
No,
have.
no, they rent it. So basically, when I say a truck, that's the whole production studio. It's in
Mhm.
a like it's literally in it's in a truck, as in like a trailer.
Mhm.
So you know the big box trucks?
Yeah.
So they convert them and then they turn them into like a trailer, and then like they do the whole production out of the trailer. So basically what happens is it's too expensive to build um your own studio most of the time
Mhm.
for these venues, especially if it's for two different broadcasts and your venue. So they just build one for the jumbotron, and then it's just cheaper to just pay for a truck to come in. You use all their equipment, you use everything they have, and then you just run the whole production out of there. But no, every team does not own a truck. They all just rent it. So they all
Mhm.
rent from different companies and all this stuff. If I start
Okay.
naming the companies, you'll never even hear about them,
Mhm.
just because you don't hear about them. You just hear about Bally Sports
Mhm.
because Bally owns the rights to those broadcasts.
Okay.
But yeah,
Um.
but Bally Sports does not shoot. Bally Sports doesn't do anything. All Bally Sports does is receive the feed and put it out there. That's it.
Mhm. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So whenever, because I've obviously seen pictures of you like on your Insta, like where you're wearing like big headphones like you are now, and we were
Yes,
talking about like how you do uh with the jumbotron. Sometimes they'll tell you like what to get like film of. So I saw a TikTok of this guy who was a beginner announcer, and he was talking about like the headphones and the little like soundboard that they have. And yeah, see, there it is. um but he was talking about like he has a mute button and like all this other stuff while so that his producer can talk to him and let him know, like, because he's on the broadcast side, like, hey, this graphic is about to come up, so talk about this graphic, like, say it's comparing LeBron and MJ. Like, obviously that's not the graphic they're going to put up, but just for example, be like, oh, this is comparing LeBron and MJ, so talk about Michael Jordan for a little bit. So do you have like how does that go on your side with the jumbotron? Like, do they tell you like, hey, we're about to go to commercials, so we need shots of this, or like we're about to do a kiss cam, like zoom in on some couples and like all that? Like, how does that work?
All right, so I'm gonna crush like your reality real quick. Everything we do is pre-planned, pre-made, and we know exactly what's gonna happen. I'm not talking about the game, not the game.
The conspiracy theorists jump to their keyboard.
There's no NBA scripts, but what we do have is, like, for example, on the Jumbotron, when it's like, oh, the shoe shuffle game where you got to guess which one it is. We already know which one it is. We're going to be like, oh, it's 3. So if they guess it right, shoot them, and then someone else go get crowd reactions. So it's literally like, we know. So for the announcers, what it is we have 2 screens, right? We have program, which is what you see at home. Yeah. So it's like your main, what's going on TV right now. And then we have a thing called ISO. And on the ISO, a lot of times they have like the previews, what's going to come up, or raw shots, right? So what'll happen is they have their little intercom box. It's a box with 2 buttons, right? One says cough, and then the other one says talk back. Yeah. So what these 2 buttons do is you hit cough, and then it mutes you completely. But when you hit talkback, that mutes your mic for the broadcast, and it allows you to speak to your producer directly without being heard over the broadcast. So a lot of times when the announcers aren't speaking, or like during commercial breaks, like another thing is when you watch TV, media timeouts during NBA games, they all happen after 7 minutes and after 3 minutes and a quarter. So there you go. So now you know, oh, look, 7 minutes have already passed and there's no commercial. It's about to come up. 3 minutes, where there's 3 minutes left and there's no commercials yet, it's about to happen. That's media timeouts. We're all conditioned to know like when it happens. But typically your announcers, they'll be speaking, and then during the timeouts, they'll hit their talkback button and then just keep yapping to the producer about what's coming next, their next hits, what they should be worried about, what their topic should be. So it's all communication. When it comes to the cameras, we also have a talkback button, but we're never going to be heard on the broadcast. But we all have talkbacks, and then the producers tell us, hey, well, it's the director. The director will tell you, hey, camera 1, coming out of this timeout, we're talking about Markelle Fultz. So I need a shot of Markelle Fultz as soon as we come out of the break. So you just line up your shot, you get Markelle Fultz, follow him everywhere, and then as soon as the broadcast come back from timeout, then they'll just start talking about Markelle Fultz, and they'll take your shot. And then after that, maybe they're like, all right, now we want to talk about Paulo Banchero. So then another camera will shoot Paulo, and then they'll switch over to Paulo, and then the announcers, they'll keep speaking because they were already told their subjects, and they all take notes, bro. Announcers write like crazy. Like, I'm talking about, like, you'll give them, because they already have their pre-manufactured notes, and then they'll just keep writing on it and writing on it. It's a lot that goes into it, but it's a lot of planning, and a lot of people think it's hard. For announcers, it is hard, but like most of the time, they're holding your hand, and they're guiding you exactly to what you need to do to have a perfect show.
And that was sort of my question, because like I that's exactly the box that I saw that I was talking about, like the cough and the talkback. But I know that y'all like y'all aren't gonna be heard on the broadcast. So that's why I was wondering like if y'all had like a similar box and like how much they talk to you. And you basically answered that by saying like, yeah, they'll be like, okay, we need a shot of Markelle Fultz and everything.
Right.
Well, I know this is probably more of like movies and TV, so I'm probably the obvious answer is probably no. But do you ever have like competition against like across like the camera guys, like who gets the best shot or anything like that, or is
All the
that
time.
like
All the time.
oh really?
So what we call it is tallies, right? A
Uh-huh.
tally means that your shot is being taken live. So when you're operating the camera, there's a little box that a light will light up when you're on the broadcast. So like when you're live. So it tells you, oh, you're live and you have a red light. So a lot of times cameramen, a lot of handheld operators, they'll count how many times they go live, and then after they'll be like, hey, I got taken 20 times tonight. What about you? And then they'll be like, oh, I got taken 18. And they're like, well, I'm better than you, bro.
Okay.
It's just friendly. It's
Yeah.
just competition.
I wasn't sure if that was like I wasn't sure if there was actual competition or if that was just like made up in TV shows, because like the way you talked about like how it was all planned, like they're like, no,
Yeah.
we're gonna use camera 1, we're gonna use camera 2, like it's already all set up, so like you can't really compete. But
Because they right.
yeah,
What they do is the director will be like, I need Markelle Fultz. And then you'll see 4 cameras immediately go to him.
yeah. See, that's what I was thinking. Like,
Whoever gets him first is the one that's taken live. It all depends on your speed and how good your shot is. So
okay, yeah, that's what I was wondering, because that's in my head. That's what I thought, and I thought that was funny. Where
They
it's
do
like,
it.
I need Markelle Fultz, and they just all hone in.
yes,
So
yes, they do it. They do it.
So like, do you? I'm trying to think of like how. So is it more of the broadcast side that has to do it, or more of your side? Because I imagine that if they're about to talk about Markelle Fultz, you also have to zoom in on Markelle Fultz, probably, right, on the
Yes.
jumbotron. So they
Yes.
talk to both of y'all, or like who gets
So-
like the majority of the talking to in that situation?
It's two different shows, broadcast and board show. They'll never speak to each other, but we do have to get players because on the jumbotron they'll have like a player singing or like a player drawing something, like something stupid.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be Paulo Banchero drawing something, and then right after that's over, they want a shot of Paulo Banchero up on the jumbotron. So they'll just race to it, try to get Paulo. As soon as it's done with the drawing, then it'll be Paulo up on the video board, so you can see Paulo did that.
Okay.
So whenever like a player is emphasized in the video show, then they'll get him right after. That's typically like a normality.
So
from
do you,
all different sides.
So during y'all's downtime, then do y'all just kind of like keep your eyes on the players so that you're ready, or do y'all just like, because then that way like, where each of their locations is, and it isn't like a Where's Waldo thing.
Right. Yeah. It's one of the biggest things. You always gotta 2 things. Always keep the ball in your shot. Keep the ball in your frame. As soon as you lose the ball, your shot's useless. Because there's no action in it. And then number 2 is always remember your players. So like, we got like at least at UCF when I do it a lot at UCF, we're given a headshot list with all the different players, and your job is to remember all the different players, so that when they're like, oh, Jonathan Isaac, boom, Jonathan Isaac, or when they're like, Goga Bataze, boom, Goga Bataze. You just gotta remember like the players and put their faces to their names. So it's all assignments, and it's all like remembering where this guy is, his tendencies, because not every player is LeBron James, and they'll walk up, grab the chalk, and throw it up, right? LeBron James does that, but we know LeBron is going to do that. So we're already ready watching LeBron go to the table, get his chalk ready, and throw it up. So it's remembering player tendencies, because these players, they have their routines, and it's insane how like strict they are to their routines. You'll see them doing their pregame routines every single, like, nonstop. So you'll already know, oh, Mo Wagner, he's going to go center court and start stretching. And then after that, he's going to do some ladders. And then he's going to do layup lines. So you just know. You just know where they're going to be. Same with the bench. You know where they're going to sit at the bench, because Some of them like to sit on the floor, like Joe Ingles. He loves sitting on the floor. Other players prefer the bench right next to the coach. Typically, that's where like AB is gonna sit. Anthony Black. One of the younger guys, they usually sit right next to the coach or the star players.
Mm-hmm.
They sit next to the coach. And then your deeper bench guys, they'll sit further back down. So you'll know and you'll remember where people are.
So, do you, to that point, do you sort of have an idea, like, besides Paolo, because obviously he was, like, the draft pick and all that, so has the most hype around him. So, besides him, because he's the obvious answer, do you sort of know, like, who's probably going to get the most camera time? Because, like, the reason I'm asking that is because is it sort of like or more luck where, say, they're spread out, and, like, say you have Paolo on one side of the court, and then, like, half of the team's at half court, and then the other half of the team's like on the other end of the court. It's like, okay, which player do I follow then? Because they're all in different spots. If I need to zoom in on one, like, who do I pay attention to? Because, say I'm following somebody on the right side of the court, but they need me to zoom to the left side of the court. It's like, well, I was following the wrong player then,
Yeah. It depends. Usually, you're going to follow whoever's having a breakout night. Whoever's scoring the most, that's usually your guy. And I didn't say this, but there's about 8 to 10 cameras. So you'll always just have your assignment. And since you're home feed, you'll stay on your home players. If you're away, you'll stay on the away players unless you're getting torched by someone else. So then you'll shoot the other team. But typically, you're either following whoever's having an amazing night, the storyline. So like, oh, this player has been going through so many injuries and all this and all that. That'll be one of the main focuses. It all depends on the main focus, but usually we're conditioned and we're told and we're set up to be able to shoot without having to worry about, oh, shoot, I'm on Jonathan Isaac. Now I got to go get Markel Fultz, who's just inbounding the ball right now. And typically, so this is literally what happens when you're operating a camera. You'll be on Jonathan Isaac. The director's going to tell you, all right, after this, I need you to get Markel Fultz. He's on the other side. Usually, the director, he has eyes on everyone, so he knows where the players are. Yeah, he knows exactly where they are.
That's good.
So you'll be shooting Markel Fultz, and then as soon as they get off you to another camera, this is all you see. From Jonathan Isaac, boom, Markel Fultz. It's just constantly whipping and whipping and whipping. Yeah, it's really, really quick.
Have you ever... So... I wasn't going to ask this originally, but you just gave the thought in my head. The way you whipped it so quick. Have you ever seen anybody that's whipped it too quick that the cameras come off like the stand or something like that?
No, not yet. I've heard horror stories about that, though, where one of my friends, they didn't have it clicked in because, this stuff is old sometimes, so it just doesn't click. It wasn't clicked in, and then, like, the camera fell off, but they caught it. So
that's good.
A lot of horror stories with that.
So if a camera breaks, say you're like on courtside, right? And something happens like those famous clips where like LeBron takes a foul and he fumbles into the camera. If the camera were to break, who do they blame? Do they blame LeBron or do they blame the cameraman for being too close?
That's just part of the game. We know that can happen.
Yeah.
So it's literally protect yourself and then protect the camera. But there's times where you literally can't do anything about it to like. There's guys where they're walking, like when we do football, you'll just be walking with the camera, but you got to keep one eye in your lens, in your viewfinder, which is your little monitor. You got to keep one eye in your monitor, and you got to keep your other eye on the field. Because, bro, for football, you'll just be shooting, and then that ball will come right at you, and you got a cornerback and a wide receiver jumping at you to try to catch this ball. So... I mean, have you seen the clips, cameraman clips, where they get their legs taken out from under them?
Yeah.
It's like, well, there's nothing you can do about it. It's part of the job.
So again, though, like, if the camera like were to break, though, like if they were to like blame it on somebody, who would they blame it on? Would they say it was the player's fault, or would they say like the cameraman was in the way?
They'll just be like, well,
nobody's fault.
Not really like. Yeah, they don't really like blame someone for it unless like you're walking and then you just drop the camera. But if you're in action and then you get taken down, like you've seen the baseball clips where a baseball gets foul tipped and it goes right at the camera lens and it shatters it. It just happens.
Okay.
So, yeah, they don't blame anyone. They just take it back for repairs and
Well, that's good.
All this stuff is insured. So
Okay, because I thought, knowing how sometimes corporations and like
Nah.
higher ups are, they'll be like, well, why were you in the way?
right, yeah. We all know like it can happen. So just keep your eye on the field and keep yourself safe. Your safety comes first.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the camera.
So what with that, sort of the more cliche questions now, I guess. So what is the most challenging aspect of your job?
Focus. Focus, bro. Staying focused. Because I learned this last year pretty quickly. You're a fan until your fandom ruins your work. So
Mhm.
like let's say I'm shooting the game and then I'm camera 1, which is the game cam, the general follow cam, your main TV camera. As soon as I stop paying attention and I start cheering for the game, I lose my focus and then I just lost the ball. You could miss a shot, you could miss an important play. It's staying locked in and remembering like I'm a fan, but I got to kill my fandom first. And I got to just take a deep breath and work. And remember, I'm working even though I am a fan, but I got to make sure I get all this correct. So focus is one of the hardest things, especially when it's a night when you got like last year, UCF was playing Memphis. UCF versus Memphis basketball. Penny Hardaway's in the building. Forgot the name of his point guard. He had this point guard that was really good. Bro dropped like 45 points on us, and it was just an insane game. But you got to stay locked in. So focus is one of the hardest parts.
So you just have to walk in with the energy like, man, what's basketball? I've never heard of basketball. I'm just here to use the camera.
a little bit, yeah. Yeah, and not getting bored. Football, one of the most boring things to shoot because it's such a long game. Those games last like 3 hours. So you're just like, ugh. On TV it's fun when you're watching it, but when you're there shooting it, it gets so boring.
Yeah. So I wanted to take something you said and turn it into the opposite direction. So you said if you're like an away team, like unless you're having a really I was trying to think of how you phrased it. You said like if you're an away team, you focus on the away team unless somebody's having a really good game, and then you have to focus on the home team. So have you ever had something like that where it's like you're focusing on the home team, but the away team's getting like, rather than the away team winning, it's the opposite where the away team's losing so much that you have to like focus on them. Like say the Pistons or something, and it's like they're like, okay, we need a shot of Cade Cunningham because this is just sad.
And they do, yeah. Like last night, the Blazers versus Thunder, they lost by like 60 points. I mean, sometimes you lose so bad, you become one of the main subjects where it's like, this is the second time in NBA history a team loses by 60 points in the same season. So now the Blazers just became a huge topic, and now your announcers, they're talking about how this has never happened before and this is the first time. So now they highlight the Blazers losing, and then they mainly take Blazer shots. Same with the Pistons. When the Pistons were on their historic losing streak, everyone was talking about it. So everyone was showing it on TV. It was everyone. Some subjects you just can't ignore. Or like whenever LeBron James is there, LeBron is always going to be the focus for both camera crews. It's insane.
So you were talking about like how players have like pregame rituals and everything, and it's easy to record. I thought it would be fun to ask you, do any of the cameramen or you have a pregame ritual where you're like, all right, time to go to work, and you just
pretty simple. For the Magic, right? What my camera guys do, they walk in, they go set up their camera, right? They set up their camera, they come to the break room, they eat, they play Uno, have a camera meeting, and then go downstairs. So their pregame ritual every game is to play Uno. Yeah, so it all just depends.
It just gets you were talking about the cameraman like competition earlier. Maybe that just gets them in the competitive spirit where like
some of them do.
Were you there when they, because I imagine since it's like a home event, there's a lot of like Jumbotron action. Did you have to do a lot for Shaq's jersey being retired or anything?
That's January. That's when we play the Thunder. I'm gonna tell you exactly what day that is. We haven't done it yet. It should be.
Okay.
So Magic.
I thought they already did it because they were showing it on NBA on TNT,
It is
like with Shaq and all them.
But February 13th is
Okay.
when they're doing it.
Oh, so right before
So pretty
Valentine's
soon.
Day. Yeah.
Yeah. I won't be there because I already work somewhere else.
Uh-huh.
I got some other jobs, so I won't be there. But that's gonna be a pretty eventful night. Because they're doing the jersey retirement after the game,
Mm-hmm.
so that's gonna take like an extra hour.
Mm-hmm. So, for events like that, is it? Do you sort of take over versus the broadcast, or does the broadcast still have the majority?
Everyone just does it at the same time together.
So it's
There's
just like
always
a
enough
game.
space. Yeah.
Okay.
There's always enough space to everyone have their own shots, and
Okay.
the away feed isn't gonna shoot it more than likely.
Yeah.
Like the away, they won't because they don't care.
Yeah.
It's not their arena. They'll show it, like they'll show like replays of it, but they're not like hell bent on showing you the whole thing. So
Yeah. Because that's what I was like asking. Because I know that is like for your team specifically, and
Mhm.
like that's like a thing that can only happen at home. So I thought like maybe you would have more responsibility doing that because like with the jumbotron because it's a home like
right,
event.
it's for the fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who else do you think that they're gonna retire from the Magic? Because Shaq like retired like a while ago, and they're just retiring his jersey now. Like I saw people talking about Tracy McGrady, Dwight Howard, So
If we're being honest, the most impactful player in Magic history is Dwight Howard. Like when you think of the Magic, you think of Dwight Howard, unless you're like from the '80s and you're an older person. But the Magic's whole identity was created by Shaq, and then so Shaq is the main reason why the Magic had an identity. Shaq took us to a finals run, right, for the first time ever. And then I see why people say Penny Hardaway and Tracy McGrady, but Penny Hardaway still hasn't entered the Hall of Fame. So we got to remember that. And it's not his fault. His whole career was derailed by injuries. And after he left the Magic, he was never able to like have that success. Tracy McGrady, he is a legend, but Tracy McGrady never won. He never took us to the finals. And although I love Tracy McGrady and Penny Hardaway, Tracy McGrady never made it out the first round when he played for the Magic. So he doesn't really have like that playoff success. Now, when you think of Dwight Howard was one of the great. I believe Dwight Howard was the greatest Magic player of all time in terms of his time with the Magic. He played more years than Shaq, so he was able to go higher up than Shaq. I mean, but Shaq's stats are insane, bro. Shaq played here for like 4 years, and he's still top 5 in scoring, top 5 in rebounding, top 5 in blocks in 4 years. So I think Dwight Howard is the next player to get retired. Like but I don't think it's going to take 20 years. I think it'll take like 10 years realistically because Dwight still hasn't retired from basketball. So he's still playing in Taiwan and all that stuff. So until he doesn't reach the Hall of Fame, his jersey probably won't get retired. And the Magic, they're changing their criteria. It used to be whoever brings us the championship. I guess they realize how difficult that is and how hard it is to put together a championship roster that doesn't get injured and doesn't lose and all this stuff. So I guess they just lowered their expectations to Hall of Famers and players who have been great for the Magic all time. I think Dwight Howard is next in line. It only makes sense. When you think of the Magic, you think of Dwight Howard.
I didn't even like realize that a lot of teams have like that type of criteria because I know people make that joke with like the Clippers and stuff where they're building that new Clippers stadium and there's no rafters to hang anything.
No.
So
there's nothing.
A bunch of people joked like, "Oh, you have just enough room for all the championship banners you'll get."
Yeah, exactly.
And so I figure people probably make that joke with the Orlando Magic too, where it's like, "Oh yeah, we only retire jerseys that have won us championships," and it's like, "All right,
Yeah,
I hope you're ready to retire 0 jerseys then."
Yeah, we only have number 6 retired. That's the only number that's retired, and it's because it's for the fans.
Mm-hmm.
So we have literally, bro. You come to Amway Center, Kia Center, and you look up at the rafters. It's literally just the number 6 for the fans, and then it's the number 49 for the Pulse shooting that happened in Orlando. So those two banners are together, and then on the other side you have Eastern Conference champs 1995, Eastern Conference champs 2009. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
We only have 4 banners hanging.
Dude, I saw a bunch of people hating on the in-season tournament too, like the banner with that, cause like Kobe had an interview and like a quote where he said we only hang championship banners in this place, but everybody was like, well, it's the first one, so you have to hang it the banner.
Bro, what makes your? I don't know how people are like that. Like, if any other team wins it, they're gonna hang that thing up like it's like the greatest championship of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, if the Pacers would have won that, there would have been a celebration, a whole parade in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
That would have been their first championship since like the ABA.
Yeah.
They're gonna hang that banner up and celebrate, but just because it's the Lakers, they're all like, "Ooh, Lakers, we're championship team." You guys won the first championship, and my theory is, in like 20 years from now, when LeBron is finally retired, they're gonna name the in-season MVP tournament after LeBron.
It'll only take 20 more years for LeBron to retire.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's what got me with that statement. Not 5 years, not 10 years,
No,
20 years from
20
now when
years.
LeBron's retired.
When he's finally done, they're gonna name the MVP after LeBron James because he's the first one to win it. Watch.
Yeah. So other than the whole like playing Uno thing, what are some like behind the scenes stuff that you find really fun or exciting? It can be with cameraman, it can be with interactions with players, like if Banchero's ever said anything to you, or I don't know.
So, what the players, they'll never really speak to you or speak to anyone in general because they're so locked in.
They're locked
bro.
in, yeah.
Like, they don't even do it in a disrespectful way. No, they're just like, we're working, but they're like, all right, we're locked in. We gotta
Mm-hmm.
we really gotta play tonight. So they'll ignore you, but it's not like a yo, get the hell out the way type of thing. It's just more like, I'm trying to focus in and I'm trying to lock in.
They're in the zone,
so just give me space. After the game, though, like, you could talk to them. You can say what's up to them. Typically, we don't. We just leave them alone because you don't want to be like a nuisance. You don't want to be like a fanboy.
Yeah.
But, I mean, some of our cam ops, man, they're recognized by players. They say what's up to players all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Just because when you see the same people every day and every day,
at some point they become your coworkers. At some point they're your coworkers. Yeah.
Exactly. Like Nick Anderson, you know who that is?
No. You can remind me.
He played for the Magic. He played for the Magic in 1995. He's the guy that missed 4 free throws in a row, and then we lost Game 1 of the NBA Finals.
Mm-hmm.
He was number 25 for the Magic. That guy, he walks around the stadium all the time. He says what's up to everybody. You can talk to him. There's other former players like Bo Outlaw, which you can say what's up to him, and he'll talk to you. He'll yap. Terrence Ross was there the other day. You can say what's up to bro. Any former player that's there, they'll talk to anybody, bro. So it's always a good environment.
They already did their time, so like they're more chill and like willing to talk to people.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
They're
there for the show.
Yeah. They don't have to lock in. It's their time to relax now.
Yeah. One thing I do really like is you remember those clips where it was like the Phoenix Suns working out after the game?
Mm-hmm.
They got to get this lift in. Bro, every team does that. Every team does that. Or like they'll do like a recovery inside the tunnel. So like last game I walk out, and as I'm walking out, Karl Anthony Towns is just on the floor stretching and doing like some light some weights, and I'm just like, all right, cool. I guess every team does what the Phoenix Suns does.
So we can sort of combine these questions together, but there's obviously the cliche question and then sort of another cliche question that you can combine with it. But what inspired you to become a cameraman, and what's your favorite moment of working as a cameraman or with the Magic?
All right. So what inspired me is very simple. I was in college, community college, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like a year and a half in, about to get my general studies degree, my AA degree, and then transfer to UCF. mind you, the only reason why I was in college was because my mom kept telling me, "Yo, you need to go to college." So I'm like, whatever. I'll go to college, and it was all paid for by FAFSA. So I'm like, what's? It's not gonna hurt me. So as I'm trying to get my AA degree, I'm sitting there and I'm like, I hate math, so I'm not gonna be any kind of STEM major. I hate science because it's too complicated. I don't like computers that much to learn like what you're doing. I'm not crazy like that. So I got to the point where I'm like, I like sports. So what can I do with sports? And I'm like, I looked up UCF. UCF had the whole sports productions, and they have a whole degree way where it's media production. So I'm like, I'm gonna just go do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I ended up doing that. So what really inspired me was just because I love sports. So why not work around sports? You
Mm-hmm.
get what I mean? And then I did that. I made my whole professional world revolve around sports. And then thankfully, doing that, it's opened the doors to many other different things, to not only sports, to where I'm doing corporate events, I'm doing business, like all these different events. It's not just sports at the end of the day, which thankfully it's helped. And then my favorite moment, that's a tough one. My favorite moments for the Magic has to be seeing LeBron James in person.
I remember you sending me the video of that.
Bro, you don't
This man
I
was
don't
like 4 feet
bro,
away from him on court
I
side.
don't like I don't like LeBron James. I'm not a fan of LeBron. I've never cheered for LeBron. But when you're there and you see, yo, you're like, bro, that's LeBron James. Like
Mm-hmm.
all that hater energy, all that like, whatever, LeBron, MJ's better. All that goes out the window. You're just like, yo, that's LeBron James right there. And then you just stare at the guy and you're just like, this is insane. So at the like, you just appreciate greatness. So that was one of those days where I just appreciated greatness. When
Mm-hmm.
Nikola Jokic came to play, I'm like, yo, that's Nikola Jokic, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the I don't care about basketball. I love horses guy, bro.
Yeah.
Like that's the two-time MVP NBA champ right there. And then the Magic won that game. That was an insane game. So it's just you get to witness amazing players, bro.
Do you ever realize like how tall they are when you're in person? Because I know when we
You
went
know,
to a Spurs game, me and my dad were almost half court, um,
yeah.
and Pop like gave Giannis a hug, and we were like, "Bro, Giannis."
Yes, dude. One of the things I'm 5'4". So I'm short as hell, right? I've already accepted it, whatever. I'm 5'4". So when I stand up and I walk by these players, bro, I gotta like break my neck to look
Mm.
at them. I can only imagine Victor Wembanyama. I that's a different animal right there. But bro, these players are huge. They're huge, man. But the one thing that kind of surprised me is their muscle mass isn't as big in person
Mm-hmm.
as I thought it would be. I thought like LeBron James would be like,
Yoked.
yeah, LeBron is buff, but like you also got to remember like LeBron James probably runs like 2 miles every single day.
Mm-hmm.
So to keep muscle mass is going to be almost impossible.
Yeah.
But they're big, but they're not as big as you would expect them to be.
Yeah. Cause it's like the whole cliche with like celebrities and stuff like that, where it's like when they post it on Insta, they probably like
Right.
Photoshop it and buff it up and all that.
Right.
So, but now we can get into I'm sort of done with like all of my interview style questions, so we can get more into the actual stuff of the season and talking about some other basketball stuff.
Uh-oh.
But
Uh-oh.
yeah. I like how you were like, I'm not as crazy as you. That was almost my minor too. I was gonna get a minor in communications for this right here, but I had to
Yep.
drop my minor in order to graduate on time because my advisor doesn't know what they're doing. So
Yeah.
I had to drop my minor and change all of my classes. And then my second choice for a minor was gonna be sports management. So I could
Mhm.
like do like statistics and all like computer science
Right.
with that,
Right.
because then you can create like algorithms. Like that's what I'm working on right now as one of my side projects, is like a
Mhm.
simulator and like an algorithm for like trades and how games are gonna play out and everything like
Right,
that.
right.
So um but let's talk trades. That's
All
what's
right.
on everybody's mind right now. So
Whew. When's the
Kawhi,
deadline? February?
yeah, it's sometime in February.
All right. Beautiful.
That's why the trade rumors are going around and it's on everybody's
Yep.
mind. So Kawhi just signed an extension, but
Yep.
I had a debate with another guest a while back where we said if the Clippers don't win this year, they should just blow it up. So how do you feel about that and Kawhi signing an extension? To me, I wouldn't have signed the extension. I would have just been like, hey, let's see how this year plays out, and
Yeah.
then we'll talk extensions. Because,
I mean-
yeah.
If you're Kawhi Leonard, do you really care that much? You
Yeah.
got 2 championships, 2 finals MVPs. You wanted to be in LA. You're in LA.
Yeah.
You're chilling. Whatever happens, happens. I mean, if I'm the Clippers, I don't blow it up yet. I don't think it's like a make or break year for them, especially now that they just added James Harden.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that they're one of the top teams in the NBA. Call me crazy, but there's a lot of change in the way that they're playing right now. So I don't know what they add because you already have so many great pieces, and you finally have 2 great playmakers. When I say great, I mean like playmakers. I'm not talking about scoring the ball. So when I say Russ is a great playmaker, I'm not saying like bro is an amazing scorer. No, Russ can be a point guard and he can facilitate, he can pass the ball, do all that stuff. So he's good for that. And he's been good for that off the bench. James Harden is a great facilitator. So at the end of the day, I don't know what they add or what they subtract. I think the Clippers are fine the way that they're doing. I say give it to the end of the year. And at the point that they're at, maybe it's just keep running it back because you already got Paul George. Is Paul George locked in for 2 years?
Let me check
Or
his
he's done?
contract real quick. But nah, you're actually, while I check that, I'll say like, you're on the opposite side of me and CJ then.
Mhm.
Because,
I just don't see where else you go. Like, what else do you do? The only thing you can do is blow it up and go young again. And then it's like,
so his contract ends next year. He signed a 4-year back in 2021.
I just run it back and see
Yeah,
where it goes.
he's
And if Paul
a-
George isn't happy,
He's a
trade him for
UFA.
assets.
He's a UFA next year.
Yeah.
But nah, me and CJ were talking about like how they've gone into the sunk cost fallacy right now.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about how like if they don't win this year, just blow it up. And we were saying like
Right.
we also thought that Harden wasn't gonna work for the Clippers. So you're on the opposite side. You're saying that it could work.
He's been doing pretty good.
Yeah, but this is the argument me and CJ had against like the fans because like we had fans that were commenting on our videos
Right,
saying like
right.
the Clippers are gonna win. So that's why we talked about it on the podcast last week. We said they're winning right now, but it's only halfway through the regular season. We were like, wait until postseason, basically.
Right. Which
But-
I can see that point.
Yeah, but we said that Harden isn't gonna work postseason, and then Kawhi and Paul George have been together on the same team for like 4 or 5 years now. It's 2024, so yeah, 4 years, because it was they
Right.
won the Toronto championship in 2019.
Yeah.
So we were like, if they don't win this year, like Kawhi is getting older, like just blow the team up. So,
Yeah, I
but
can
you're
see that.
you're saying like nah, let's give it 1 more year, 2 more years,
Keep it
like
going, man.
yeah.
Look, bro, the Clippers historically are one of the worst franchises in the NBA. At this point, what do you have to lose, bro? This is like the best collection of players you've ever had on your roster.
Mhm.
I mean, you could say CP3, Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan, JJ Redick, all that stuff. But they never got they never got to the conference finals. You're at the point now where you just hope that this team can get you to the NBA finals so you can finally hang up a banner
Mhm.
in that center. But I mean, I don't see the rush to blow it up because Kawhi Leonard, he's a load managing king. He's coming off when he tore his ACL 2 years ago against the Jazz
Mhm.
when they made it to the conference finals and they lost to the Suns. Yes, when they lost to the Suns, which was in 2021, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, because Bucks won in 2021. I mean, realistically, you really look at it. When is the last time the Clippers had a fully healthy season where all their guys actually played?
Mhm.
It wasn't last year. Last year they had too many injuries. So they've just been destroyed by injuries and load management and all this different stuff. The last time I can remember seeing the Clippers like actually all be healthy was in 2020 when they choked to the Nuggets,
Mhm.
which we all we all remember
That
that.
was Doc Rivers coaching them too, right? Because
Yep.
I make that joke all the time
Yep.
about how Doc
Yep.
always loses.
Yep. So I wouldn't blow it up yet, but I don't know what I would add or subtract to that roster. I think they're fine. James Harden. James Harden is good until you ask him or until he starts to do too much. Like
Hmm.
last year when he was on Philly, I thought he did great in their playoff run. Like he had some stinkers, but I mean that's who isn't going to have a bad game in the
Hmm.
playoffs. But I mean he had that historic game 6 against Boston where he pushed them to a game 7 and then after there it was just
Yeah.
well, Boston just took over.
Well, that was sort of my point. Is like, I said either somebody's gonna get injured or Harden's gonna try and do too much. Because Shaq even
Right.
said it himself, where he's like, we've never seen a fourth option James Harden.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
so far.
Exactly.
So far, he's proving me wrong because every game Harden has had double-digit assists for like the
Yeah.
last like week or so.
And that's what
But-
you want. That's what you want.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's gonna hold up postseason. I don't know if he's gonna try
Yeah.
and lock in and be like, all right, it's playoffs. I got to do my James Harden thing,
Right.
and then all of a sudden he's not passing the ball anymore.
Because if you watch the Clippers, which I've caught a few games, but I don't watch them too much. The Clippers are a very ISO heavy team,
Mhm.
right? So like it'll be James Harden cooks, now Kawhi cooks, now Paul George cooks, but they're starting to change that a little bit more to where James Harden is handling the ball, and then Paul George is more of a pin down, coming off screens, off ball type player, which that's what you want out of Paul George at the end of the day because you don't need another guy to be dribbling the air out of the ball because you're gonna have Russell Westbrook come off the bench do the same thing.
Mhm.
So I think it's working right now. They just had like no they were winning games. I'll say that. I
They
don't know
had like a
specifically-
7-game win streak. I just checked it
All
a
right.
little while ago.
All right, yeah. So they were winning games. If you can keep winning, I mean, they just blew out the Suns, which I mean that's not that impressive.
Mhm.
The Suns have really, really been struggling on defense this year. But I mean, the Clippers, did they lose to the Lakers? Who was it that they lost to someone recently? Let me see.
I can look it up again. I just checked it a little while ago.
Yeah,
But
I know they were having some pretty good games. Oh no, they lost to the Lakers. The Lakers broke their win streak.
yeah.
So it all just depends on how they can work together. I mean, look, their big losses came against the Thunder. They got blown out by the Thunder, which
Mhm.
that's if I'm going to the playoffs, I'm always scared of the young teams. So
Mhm. And then they
Yeah, I
lost
mean-
to Boston too.
yep. So I don't
Just don't say that
I-
the Celtics are all you have to worry about. Don't say you're fine in the West. We know what happens.
yeah, exactly.
But speaking of the West, do you think somebody from the Warriors is gonna get traded? Because Curry came out and said that he's not happy with the current situation, and saying that he's like something. He straight up said like something needs to change. He said like this is the definition of insanity. So you got Klay Thompson's contract is expiring, but obviously that's Klay Thompson, so I don't think he's going anywhere. But you got Chris Paul, Andrew Wiggins, Draymond Green, who I talked about last episode. I would trade, but obviously people think that he's part of the big three, so people found that as a really hot take. But you have Gary Payton II, you have Kevin Looney, you have Jonathan Kuminga, and you have Moses Moody. So and you have 3 first-round picks from
Right.
2026 to 2031. So
Yeah.
who do you think is going to get traded? Are they going to trade any picks, anything like that? And you can do that while I mute myself real quick because my schedule just dropped for
You're
work.
all good, bro. When it comes to all right, so here's the thing with the Warriors. So Steph Curry's over here complaining. I don't feel bad. Steph Curry terrorized the NBA for 8 years in a row. Don't forget about that. All right, but realistically, like you can't trade Draymond Green because what the hell kind of value does Draymond Green have on other rosters? So like you got Draymond Green, you might be like, oh, Draymond Green is great. Draymond Green is the Warriors system. Like I don't think you could trade Draymond Green away and then expect him to have the same production on another team, because you would expect them to do more. Now we talk about Kuminga, Moses Moody. They were complaining about the Warriors and how the front office and how Steve Kerr doesn't play them enough. I mean, who can you trade for? Pascal Siakam with those two pieces. Andrew Wiggins, who do you trade him for? Pascal Siakam. They want to move these guys. Realistically, the easiest piece to move this offseason, I mean, this trade deadline, is Chris Paul, because he is an expiring contract, and you've already seen that this experiment, it's not really working out too well. Chris Paul gets injured a lot. He's been playing, but he has his injuries, and he's just getting older. So you've seen the Chris Paul and Steph Curry duo. It can work, but it's not the greatest. So you just get rid of those. And Chris Paul's an expiring contract, so that's an easy thing to move. So you can get rid of that. But in terms of what assets do you get back, I don't really know what the Warriors do at this point other than blow it all up. I mean, you got the Klay Thompson contract talks. Klay Thompson thinks he's better, or that he deserves more than what he actually is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can only pay for the production you get. And this is exactly why Bob Myers stepped down as the GM, because he didn't want to deal with what comes after the dynasty. What comes after the dynasty is a disaster at the end of the day, because you're managing these young guys. You want to get these young guys game time. But the Warriors are trying to win now, man. Like, I'm not trying to deal with 10 minutes of Moses Moody turning the ball over 3 times and leaving Stephen Curry wide open. Like, the things that the Spurs do, for example, where you have Jeremy Sohan can't even look at Victor Wembanyama cutting. See, that type of stuff wouldn't fly on the Warriors, because they're trying to win now. They don't want to develop. They don't care about developing. I mean, the Warriors, they got a rookie right now playing point guard for them more than Moses Moody plays for them. So, you can't really, develop a young guy while trying to win now and not allowing them to make mistakes. So, look, at the end of the day, you got to decide. Are we going all in on a championship run? Because we still got Steph Curry. We still got Draymond Green. We still got Klay Thompson. We got the big three still. Let's just try to go for another one. Or do we just flat out rebuild? You're not going to trade Steph Curry anywhere. Let's be real. That's a Warrior lifer right there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's you need to decide. Are we going the young route, or are we going the old route? You've already fumbled in the draft too many times. You fumbled the James Wiseman pick, but no one's going to talk about that because you won a championship 2 years after with James Wiseman. So it's oh, yeah, they messed it up, but whatever. You drafted Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody in a draft that was what? They could have drafted Franz Wagner. I'm glad they didn't. That's a Magic player right there. You could have drafted other pieces that fit better with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and all this stuff. So I think they just need to make a decision. Are you all in, or are you going to rebuild? You got to figure out what you're going to do. I think they're going to go all in and just keep trading for pieces. Pascal Siakam is a pretty big piece that they might be in the market for. Andrew Wiggins, yeah, you could flip him, but it's what are you getting back for Andrew Wiggins? Realistically. And with the way trades are, what? Who was it that got traded just so recently?
OG Anunoby.
OG Anunoby.
Yeah.
He got traded for Emmanuel Quickly, RJ Barrett, and maybe a second. Did they get any picks? They got a pick back in return.
Mm-hmm.
So it's Andrew Wiggins is not gonna net you that same amount of value as OG Anunoby did. So if you trade away Andrew Wiggins, you're gonna have to expect maybe 1 first-round pick and 1 decent player.
Mm-hmm.
That's not really enough to help the Warriors. So, I mean, look, I already said it. Chris Paul is your most valuable asset just because he has the biggest contract on an expiring, and then your young guys. Maybe you package that together and you get someone that can help you win. Who is that guy that's going to help you win? I really do not know.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't know, because they don't need guards. They need big men, and they need small forwards.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what they do. I really don't know.
Well, I guess we'll see what they do because, yeah, like
Very
there's a lot
soon.
of people that can be traded, and Steph is definitely, again, like expressing frustration.
Yeah,
And again, I said that Draymond Green just brings a negative energy around the team that I honestly
I
just want
think
to see him
so.
gone.
Yeah.
The Chris Paul experiment, like you said, isn't working, and then they have
Nope.
like a bunch of young guys. So I feel like those young guys could be valuable on other teams. It's just
I
again
agree.
they're not getting minutes because they want to
Yep.
run their vets. So,
Mhm.
but we'll see what happens. So um, we can talk about the Magic though. How's their season been going, and do you see them making any trades? Because I saw that they've been having a lot of injuries
Yes.
lately, so people said that they were probably going to make some trades.
Okay. There's a lot. So we're gonna start off with this. The Magic have blown out expectations, right? The Magic are 5 games above 500, and we're in January. When's the last time that's been said, right?
Mm-hmm.
So before I come in here with my unrealistic expectations of we need to win now, we need to do this, sometimes I got to take a step back and be like, yo, this is Paulo's second year, this is Franz's third year, Jalen Suggs' third year, and we're 5 games above 500. None of us expected us. None of us expected this last season. But now, when I talk about trades and when I talk about my criticisms, did you see Markel Fultz come back, or you haven't caught any of that?
I haven't been able to watch any of the Magic games.
Okay, the hitch is back. It's very much back. Like he shoots free throws like he did in Philadelphia, where he goes up, stops, and then shoots. In the game versus the Timberwolves, one of the biggest things that we saw was shooting is a must for the Magic. And one of the players that really highlighted that maybe Markel Fultz is not the guy for this roster anymore. I have a Markel Fultz jersey right there.
Mm-hmm.
But the injuries, the mental aspect of it, it just seems like it's getting to him. And I hate to say that because, bro, I love Markel Fultz. I wanted a comeback story. But, dude, I'm watching the Timberwolves game. Paulo Banchero kicks it out to him, and he's wide open.
Mm-hmm.
And he drives the ball. And then right there, that just tells you, like, we can't have players like that around Paulo Banchero. We got to treat him like he's LeBron James, and he has all these shooters around him. I mean, it just comes down to we need shooting. We need shooters, and we don't have a lot. Thankfully, a name you can look out for, his name is Caleb Houston. He's shooting
Mm-hmm.
like 50% from three on the year. So that's one of our best shooters. We drafted a shooter. At the end of the day, the Magic probably package, if we make a trade, we're probably going to trade for a shooter. And in today's world, shooters are very expensive. It's very expensive to have a three-point shooter on your roster that can actually play defense. One of our biggest downfalls is injuries, as you said. Bro, you look at our injury list, it's long. And then I'm tired of that. And then it's just like, if you can't play, if you can't be on the floor at least 75% of the games, you really have no value. 2 years ago, it was like, all right, yeah, they're injured, but let's give them time, let them come back because they bring value. And then once they get healthy, we can see how they fit in with this core. Now, the mentality has sort of shifted to like, we want to win now, and you being injured and being on the bench all the time, it just doesn't help us.
Mm-hmm.
So like players like Gary Harris, who I think Gary Harris is a great player, but his shot hasn't been falling this year, but he's good on defense. Guys like Gary Harris, Markel Fultz, who's another guy? We have a few guys. And then it's just like all these Wendell Carter Jr. You saw Wendell Carter Jr.'s name is starting to be brought up in trade
Mm-hmm.
rumors, and it's because he can't stay healthy. And that's one of the things Bulls fans warned us about. But we need to trade for a shooter. Wendell Carter's going to stay on the roster, though. But
Mm-hmm.
we need to trade for guys that can actually play. Anthony Simons is one of the biggest targets on Magic Twitter. Bro, because you imagine Anthony Simons with Paulo and Franz? Oh, that's beautiful basketball.
I saw some people saying that they would trade Markel Fultz and a couple other people for like Zach LaVine.
Nah, the Bulls aren't going to take Markel Fultz, bro. Markel Fultz is damaged goods.
Mm-hmm.
It's unrealistic to think he still has value. At the beginning of the season, he had value. Spurs Twitter was they wanted Markel Fultz. Tell me not. You guys
Yeah.
wanted Markel Fultz. So
I
it's
saw
like
a lot of people talking about it, yeah.
his value is dropped. So I don't think you can get much for him because he's always injured. And that TOS, bro, that thoracic outlet syndrome, I think it keeps affecting him because he can't extend his arm. We just need shooters and we need healthy bodies. At the end of the day, that's what we need on this roster.
Yeah. So unbiasedly, who you looking at it? Was it 2 years later? Who's better, Chet Holmgren or Paolo?
Well, what are you looking for?
Just
Are you looking for a guy that will lead your franchise and be your number one option, or are you looking for a guy that is the perfect number two next to an MVP level player?
who's the better overall? But yeah, I guess it depends on the context.
Overall, your best player will be Paulo Banchero, right? But your best number two will be Chet Holmgren. And like people always argue about, I bet the Magic wish they took Chet Holmgren. Not really, because Paulo's becoming an all-star and Paulo's doing all these different things. Paulo's inefficiencies, he's inefficient sometimes. I'll be the first to admit it. But it's like, bro, if you watch Paulo play, bro, that is such a breath of fresh air compared to what Magic fans have been used to. Bro, we tried to develop Aaron Gordon to be what Paulo Banchero is today. And yeah, that did not work. So, Chet Holmgren, he's going to be a great player in his own right. He's going to be good. I think he's going to be great, especially if you keep him next to Shai Gilgeous. If you keep him next to Shai, he's going to be a great player. But I prefer Paulo. I think Paulo will be the better player, but Chet will be the better number two.
Yeah.
And that's not discrediting any of the guys. It's just different roles. Chet isn't leading the franchise because he doesn't have to, bro. He has such an amazing player next to him. Paulo is leading the franchise. So it's two different positions. And if the two guys were on the same team together, they'd be just as great together as they would be separately.
Yeah, so, I feel you because the only reason I'm asking is because like I've seen people debating that well as debating Chet Holmgren versus Wembanyama because Chet was injured, he's still considered like a rookie now.
Right.
So Chet's won like rookie of the month or rookie of the week or whatever it is, like 4 or 5 weeks in a row now.
Right.
So people are saying like, oh, Chet might win rookie of the year. And it's like, yeah, but the NBA was literally showing Wembanyama's games before he was drafted. So I think he's pretty much got it locked.
It's like I said before. Chet is fortunate and blessed. This is no discredit to Chet Holmgren. He was drafted next to an amazing player. Bro, he's playing next to an MVP level player. That's why everyone on the OKC Thunder, Jay Will, Lou Dort, all these different guys, their offense is looking so much better than it actually is because, bro, they're playing with an MVP level player. I wish I had, bro, if we had an MVP level player on the Magic that was a point guard that would drop in 30 a night, bro, could you imagine Victor Wembanyama in OKC Thunder's system right now?
Yeah.
Bro, a point guard that actually finds him?
Yeah.
It'd be insane. If Chet was just drafted to the most perfect scenario possible for a player of his caliber. That's what it is. And that's not discrediting, and I'll keep saying that. That's not discrediting the player. That's just acknowledging that, this guy has it better than all these other guys. Like, Victor is supposed to be your number one savior of your franchise. Paulo is our number one savior of our franchise. Not every player can do that.
I've talked plenty about Wembanyama not getting past the ball. Don't worry.
Yeah, it happens too often.
Yeah. So, who do you think from the Suns is... I'll start to wrap it up here in a few, but I got some more team trades I want to talk about.
Yep.
So, who do you think from the Suns is going to get traded? Because you have Grayson Allen coming off... he's going to be an unrestricted free agent. Yeah. And the Suns themselves straight up said that they need us. I said this when the KD trade and Bradley Beal trade happened. Crazy how an NBA scout didn't see it, but everybody else saw it. That their lineup is too stacked, and they said they need to get rid of some people because they have too many people that hold on to the ball. And I was like,
there's no depth.
crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so do you think Grayson Allen's unrestricted free agent, and then obviously KD, he's probably gonna jump to another team because that's what KD does. He said that he doesn't want to leave the Phoenix Suns, but I saw a bunch of people comment on it and be like cap, X to doubt,
Right.
cap, and like all that. So yeah, I don't know where KD's gonna go, and I also said that the Suns aren't gonna make it far this postseason because they are the worst team in fourth quarters this season, which means they're not gonna close out games in the playoffs at all.
Correct.
So
The Suns. Here's what I'm gonna say. So with the Suns, there's no defense, and it's all just like you said. Too many ball handlers, too many offensive players, not enough off-ball movement, and there's no bench depth. This is why big threes in the NBA have been destroyed completely because they just do not work. Because, all right, what are some of the big threes that have been formed recently that didn't work? KD on the Nets, right? Because it was KD, Kyrie,
and Harden,
someone else, and Harden, exactly. We had the OKC Thunder big three. KD is just involved in most of these.
yeah,
The OKC Thunder big three. We have the Clippers big three. We have the Lakers big three.
I was about to say the Lakers.
And I mean, yes, the Lakers won in 2020, but that was when they had depth. That's why they won that championship, because they had players, they had a roster. What we're seeing now is that the depth is one of the most important pieces in this NBA, like in the world that we're in, because I mean, ever since when was the last time a big three made it to the finals? Maybe
Probably the Heat.
Yeah.
The Heat with LeBron.
Or we'll say the Warriors. That super franchise, super team. That's like really the last super team to like really get far in the postseason. What we've seen recently is teams like the Nuggets, where you got one centerpiece and then everyone else is great on offense and they just flow together. There's no like three-headed monster. You got the Bucks. When the Bucks won it, they had a big three, bro. Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday, and Giannis is not the big three that you think of when you think of a big three. They're just well-rounded pieces that work together. The Suns, when they made it to the finals that year, that was such a great team because they had so much, bro. They had Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Chris Paul, Devin Booker. That was when their center, DeAndre Ayton, was actually decent at basketball. They had all these pieces. I mean, it just gets to the point where, why did the Warriors win another championship when they did? Because they revitalized their team and they had all this depth. In 2016, was it 2016? No, excluding 2016. When the Warriors lost to the Raptors in 2019 in the finals, one of the main reasons why they lost was because their star players were not there and their big-headed monster just was not playing. Only one guy of the three were playing, and they didn't have the depth to win the game. At the end of the day, the NBA, it's all about depth. So the Suns, what do? You just hope the ball goes in. You just hope you score more points than the other team at this point, because you have no value on your roster. You got Grayson Allen, but like you said, he's an unrestricted free agent. What is he going to get you? A second-round pick? 2 second-round picks?
Yeah.
People, they're not really like, here. Especially in the NBA nowadays, where everything has so much less value. I mean, you remember last season, how many second-round picks got traded for players? It's just, I don't see the movements. I mean, they're giving Bol minutes now, and people are like, Bol deserves more minutes. Bro, that guy sucks.
Yeah, I get what you mean. The picks traded away, like, the picks just, like, bounced around because it was the only way to balance out trades, it seemed.
Exactly. There's no value on that roster, and I don't see why people would want to trade for anything on that roster.
I was gonna ask you about like some other stuff, like your All-Star picks and like MVP and all that, but I don't know if we're gonna have time. So I'll just name off these 3 players, and you'll give your thoughts on each and like if they're gonna get traded, and then we'll end it there.
All right.
So, Dejounte Murray, Kevin Huerter, and Donanvan Mitchell. So Dejounte Murray, the Lakers, the Heat, the 76ers, and the Knicks said they're interested in him. I know when Dejounte got traded from the Spurs, everybody thought he was going to go to the Knicks at first because he was posting a lot of videos of him like in New York, and he posted on his Instagram story him like touring the Knicks, what's it called? They're like facilities. That's the word I'm looking for. Sorry. I was about to say like their practice area, but that's not what I was looking for. Like, yeah, their facilities. And then Kevin Huerter, he's a decent player. I liked him on the Kings, to be honest, but apparently the Kings want to get rid of him. And then Donanvan Mitchell has his contract ending. I don't see him really going anywhere, but maybe.
I don't either.
But people are saying that he's like up for a trade and like all that, and people are considering it, so I don't know.
Yeah. I don't see Donanvan Mitchell getting traded because the Cavs roster has been decimated by injuries all season. So I don't see why you rush to trade the guy. Especially, like, I haven't seen any quotes or anything where he's like, I hate Cleveland. I want to leave Cleveland. It's more of assuming people, like, bro, who isn't going to be frustrated by losing a game? Everyone gets frustrated by losing. That doesn't mean they're pissed and they want to get traded away from this situation. Now, Dejounte Murray, trade him back to San Antonio.
I mean, we'd have a point guard at least, but I don't know if Dejounte would be willing to come back with all the shit he talked.
But obviously the Hawks need to trade Dejounte. You got to make a decision because the Hawks have had so many players not pan out. DeAndre Hunter, who was supposed to be the 3-and-D wing, this amazing guy, plays no defense. So already that's ruining a little bit. Trae Young plays no defense. Dejounte Murray, he tries to play defense. He's not the greatest. Am I wrong about that, or am I right about that?
Say it one more time, sorry.
Is Dejounte Murray a good defender?
He's like all right, but he's obviously better on offense than defense.
Okay,
so
yeah, that's exactly what I thought. So him and Trae Young just does not work, bro. Just Trae Young is like the James Harden effect, where bro needs the ball all the damn time to do anything. And it's literally just ISO plays between him and Dejounte. I don't see how that works. I don't like their pairing. Where do you trade them, though? For what value? And it's like one of the most difficult things to do is trade away a player after your experiment failed. Because you just destroyed and diminished all of his value.
Their trade value,
because you guys failed.
Yeah.
Like, it's incredible. So, and it's not like Dejounte Murray is an all-star this season. I don't see it.
Yeah.
I don't think.
And I called the whole. I called that the experiment was gonna fail too. Like,
from the beginning.
I got obviously a large percentage of my fan base is Spurs fans, and so I said I was happy when the Dejounte trade happened, and I got a lot of hate for that because they're like, bro, what are you saying? But I was like, guys, it's not gonna work for the Heat. Like, just trust me on this. I was like, they have two players now that are two on ball that basically play the exact same role. Like, all they did was basically just try and clone Trae Young as if that was gonna work. And I was like,
I didn't like it.
Yeah, I was like, it's not gonna work, guys. And so I said that's why I was like, I'm okay with the Dejounte trade because we got a bunch of picks, and Dejounte is not gonna work for the Hawks. And sure enough, that's what happened. So yeah, but I don't know where he goes from here. So. Oh
yeah, he could be on the Lakers, but it's like.
Yeah, I saw like some Austin. Okay. I saw people were saying like Austin Reeves for Dejounte. But there's been a lot of mixed reports about that because some people are saying like the Lakers are okay trading Austin Reeves. Other people are saying that the Lakers don't want to trade Austin Reeves. Like it really just like nobody knows.
It's the Lakers. Everyone's available.
Yeah. But what about Kevin Huerter? Or
Kevin Huerter?
Sorry, my bad.
Nah, quick thing about Dejounte on the Lakers and Austin Reeves. It's just. Their roles are totally different. Austin Reeves is great next to LeBron. I don't see how a player like Dejounte Murray can be great next to LeBron. That's all. And then Kevin Huerter. The benefit Kevin Huerter has is he's a known shooter, right? So the great thing about shooters is no matter how bad you play defense and how badly your shot isn't falling, another team will always be like, we can make that work. Like I said, I don't know where most of these guys get traded. A team that needs shooting is going to trade for him. So, like, Team like the Timberwolves, team like the Magic, team like I don't see why the Suns would trade for him. Maybe a team like the Clippers, team like the Grizzlies, play people that just need shooting. The Knicks would love another shooter,
Mm-hmm.
but the Lakers would like him too. At the end of the day, it's just like who needs a shooter and who thinks they can put this shooter in their system.
Yeah.
Because a lot of teams can make it work with him. When you have a shooting guard, you can make it work. A lot of times you just need the ball away from them to where you can just swing it to them.
Yeah.
Someone that takes all their attention away.
Yeah, and I've always said like Kevin Huerter was like one of those like, because I saw what he was doing like with the Bucks back when he was like with on the Hawks,
Mm-hmm.
and I said like I was like even though I'm a Bucks fan, like when he was playing against the Hawks, I was like Kevin Huerter's a very underrated player.
Yeah.
Like he can shoot, and like that's exactly what you said. Like he can shoot, and um he can really add like shots to a team that needs it. The problem is like
Right.
everybody just sees him as like a 6-man player or like
Mhm.
coming off the bench,
Right.
and like he's still not like hyped up enough to be like one of those like starting lineup guys.
Right. Right.
Like unless he's on a team like the Kings or something like that.
Yeah.
But like he's good. Like that's why I keep saying he's underrated. Like obviously I'm not gonna say like, oh, he's like an all-star superstar player. And I think that's why like teams don't want to like really trade for him or give him that many minutes. But he can put up shots, man. Like
Yeah. He could shoot.
yeah, he shoots lights out sometimes. Again, like I've seen him with the Kings and he's been shooting. I saw him with the Hawks, he was shooting. Like he's
Yep.
got a decent 3-point percentage and he just like swishes it like every time. So, but yeah, it's just who has the pieces to get him and who's going to
Right.
actually use him efficiently.
Right.
Because again,
Right.
with him being underrated and stuff like that, you could trade for him and then only play him 10 minutes a game, and it's like, okay, then why did you even trade for
Why?
him?
Yeah. Why even have him?
So, but yeah, but we're coming up on an hour and 30 minutes here, and I gotta start getting ready for work soon. So any last minute type stuff you want to say about the Magic, about camera work, about your YouTube, anything else like that?
Follow your dreams and follow Banchero is an all-star this year.
Vote Banchero as All-Star. That's his
Banchero
final
All-Star.
message. All
He's
right.
gonna make it.
Well, are you still doing the Jxremmy Productions, that Instagram, or?
Nah, not too. Just Instagram. That's really it.
Okay, because I was gonna ask like what you want me to link in the description, but
Just put my Instagram.
all right.
I'm good with that.
Well, that's Jxremmy. I always joke that we made the joke last year that you are the unofficial co-host of this podcast now because you're always
Yes,
on here.
sir.
And I even joked with CJ the last couple of times you've always been the first guest I have of the year. So CJ was this year because you were busy, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's still January. So,
Damn
but
right. Still January.
yeah, but that's Jxremmy. I'll leave all his stuff in the description. Go check him out. He's always a cool guest. And with that, I will see y'all in the next one, guys. Nathan Burnett, episode 55.
This is not okay. This needs to stop now.